rather abrupt, wasn't it? I think the music cut off a little bit early there, caught me all unawares. Hello, everyone. You are watching the FinTech Magazine show, brought to you by FinTech Magazine, InsurTech Magazine, and BizClik Media Group. My name is Scott Birch, and we will be bringing you all the latest news, analysis, and opinions from the world of FinTech every 2 weeks right here on LinkedIn, also available on YouTube and across our other digital platforms as well. Joining me today, as ever, is FinTech and InsurTech editor, Joanna England. Hello, Jo. How are you doing today?
Hi, Scott. It's good to be here again.
It is good to be here, and the time has gone so quickly. It seems like only yesterday that we were talking about all things FinTech. And just to remind you all, you can come and say hello as well. If some of you are already doing that, come and say hello by posting in the comments section underneath the show. And you can also go to LinkedIn and vote in our poll. Now, Jo, what was the question that we asked everybody this week?
Okay. So we asked which cybersecurity threat will have the biggest impact on fintech in the next few months and why. And we had 3 options, which were malware, phishing, and ransomware. And the poll's already had some interesting comments. So I'm looking forward to getting the final result at the end of the show.
Absolutely, and I think we asked people to post comments as well as picking one of those options to also post some comments as well. And we are going to share the results of that, as Jo said, at the end of the program. But there's loads to talk about before then. And let's start by taking a look at the latest fintech and insurtech news. Okay, Jo, why don't you kick off and go straight into the first news story that you've selected for us today?
Okay, so the headline for this story actually just ran today, and it's fintechs prioritize cybersecurity as their global threat increases. Now, I've chosen this story because the ongoing threat of cyber attacks has been ramped up lately. And we're seeing companies really throw their weight financially into new solutions that are literally costing them billions. So, for example, Google has just acquired a leading cybersecurity company called Mandiant. And this reportedly cost Google $5.4 billion and is also Google's second cybersecurity acquisition of 2022. So they're really putting cybersecurity at the front and center of their strategy. Now, there are a number of reasons why the cybersecurity threat has escalated, and it's not just down to the current political situation. I think we need to take into account the digital ecosystem and the fact that hackers are now aggressively targeting companies that have a large network of partnerships. So basically, cyber criminals realize that they can affect far more entities through one breach because businesses have become so interconnected. And of course, fintech and insurtech companies are heavily reliant on the digital ecosystem. So that's one reason why the problem is escalating. But there are other issues too, such as a lack of cybersecurity talent, a workforce globally that continues to be largely remote, and of course the process of legacy companies that are shifting their systems over to the cloud in huge numbers, and this invariably leads to vulnerabilities of numerous forms. Now, so the next element that comes up also, which is really important, is user competence. And this looks at how companies manage their cybersecurity at ground level, because that can have a huge impact on their levels of protection and their risk factors. So really, I mean, we need to talk about user management and best practices. Although at this point, I do need to mention that comparatively, staff in fintechs and insurtechs are much more vigilant when it comes to cybersecurity practices than in other industries. So this isn't a factor that affects fintechs quite as much as other industry players. Yeah. So I think the message here is that really we need a multifaceted approach to the problem, and that if security is tightened up at ground level, this would go a long way towards protecting companies against the increased risk of hackers.
Okay, thanks, Jo. Now, for anyone joining us, you realise that we do this live. As you can see in the top corner, it says live. Now, Jo, we have had a few issues with your sound and your microphone while we were preparing earlier. Just to let you know that when you were talking, we did hear a little bit of rustling. So if you can just be aware of maybe the microphone position there, that'd be great. Before we go on to the second story that you've selected, Joe, I just want to say a few hellos to people who've kindly joined us and said hello to us. And it just emphasizes really people joining us from all over the world. So as you can see, we have Diana from Chicago. We have Birgit from Germany. We have Factoring from Istanbul. And who else are you picking out here? Pippa Russell, all the way from Bath, and Fad from Dubai. And we also got Mohammed from Tokyo, if we can see that as well. And people joining us from Portugal, Tampa, from all over the world. But Joe, let's go on to the second story. And the first story that we selected was relating to fintech, of course. But you've also seen something from InsurTech that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. And we've actually got some footage for this one of Julian Teak, who is the CEO of WeFox, with Ivan Geditz, who is the CEO of AC Milan. And we've chosen to talk about this story, basically, because it's something that's really positive. And let's face it, news has been rather dark lately. So it's good to focus on something happy. So WeFox has basically taken the plunge and become a key sponsor of AC Milan, which means their logo will be on all the players' shirts and will take pride of place in all major matches. And I think this is a really interesting move because it's very clear evidence of an InsurTech that is forward thinking in making sure that they are right under the noses of their ideal customer base. But this is actually not the first time that WeFox has been connected with football, because last year they had a major sports stadium named after them. It's the stadium in Schaffhausen, Switzerland. I think that's the right way to say it. And it's now called the WeFox Arena Schaffhausen. So I suppose we're looking at an InsurTech that is putting the cool into its business. And this has become a bit of a trend lately among fintechs and insurtechs, because we've also seen the UK company Sokin, which is a cross-border payments transfer fintech set up in 2020. And they've actually signed huge sponsorship deals with 5 major football clubs. The most recent of which is the Miami Dolphins. And they've done this, again, like WeFox, because they purposely want to appeal to their audiences and put themselves under the nose of the demographic that they are trying to attract. So sports sponsorships, an interesting and fun development in the world of InsurTech. And I just know that we're going to see more of it moving forward.
Yeah, it's inevitable, but it is interesting, as you say, because the thing with sports sponsorship, especially a high-profile sport like football or soccer, as our American cousins call it, obviously it's very high-profile, and it's a great way of showing yourself as an established company, an established brand, and obviously getting your name out there. So it's good. It's got to be good for the industry to see an InsurTech actually as a shirt sponsor, especially for a globally recognized team like AC Milan, for instance. Okay, yeah, really interesting. And remember, you can catch all of the latest news and analysis on our websites, which are FinTech Magazine and InsurTechDigital.com. And still to come after the break, we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the great features we've got in the new March issues of FinTech Magazine and InsurTech, and looking ahead to the FinTech Live event taking place in London later this year. But hopefully next, we've got something else, Joe.
That's right. We've got a special guest joining us today. Joining us is Anna Lucia Salazar, and she is the Senior Manager of Financial Services for ID Now UK. Welcome to FinTech Live, Anna.
Sorry, I was in mute. Oh, thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh, it's great. It's great that you've connected. So just going to jump straight in. And you can let us know all your knowledge on the subject. So what's trending in security ID for fintechs right now?
So, well, security is such a broad topic, but I'm going to focus in on what I do. And I'm going to start with saying that since the pandemic, identity when I talk to fintech executives, and just to give you some examples, is everything from scamming, so fraudsters taking over certain accounts, to fraudsters using people's identities as well to open bank accounts, to get some loans, to obtain credit cards. So I think it is essentially not only to implement robust technology, and that's why I discuss with them all the time for onboarding, but also what happens whenever the customer returns. So it is also important for authentication to be able to know who is the person coming back. So is it the same person that we onboarded? And it is important as well to have robust technology that really helps to verify it. So biometrics, for example, is one of the ways that is being used lately in order to verify this.
Okay, so biometric, it does seem to be popular, as you just pointed out, but it's also quite an intrusive way of protecting your accounts and your assets. What are your thoughts on that?
Really interesting, because I think the perception of biometrics being used by the financial services industries has changed widely over time. Initially, when we go back in time, 2013, 17, when Touch ID and Face ID first came in Apple, it was quite divisive. Some people loved it, some people hated it. It was quite intrusive. However, I think when the industry, especially fintech, started really to embrace this type of technology, the perception really changed. Everything is about convenience. It's very easy just to put your face in front of your phone and open your account, but it's also very secure. It's a friction that now is almost expected from customers. So I think, yes, initially it was intrusive, but now it's something that customers are really happy to use because they know it's protecting their valuables and their assets.
Okay, and so one of the things that constantly comes up is the question of passwords. Mm-hmm. So passwords, are they in or out? Are they old technology? And if you're still using them, what's the best way to manage them?
Yes, well, I think it's a long time before we see passwords to disappear completely. That's my view. I think what's happening now is that the way that they're being used is just shifting. So they're not the main the main person in the show now, but they're sharing the stage with others, and that's multi-factor authentication essentially. And something that really helped to change was the regulations that came with PSD2, so strong customer authentication, because they implemented the standards where 2 out of 3 ways of verifying a person should be implementing. Initially, it was only for payments, but now it's getting across the whole financial services industries. And the 3 things are: 1 is knowledge, so passwords, they're here to stay. The 2 is possession, so that can be either a mobile phone with the banking application there, or maybe a PIN pad. And then the last one, but not least, is inherent. And then we go back to biometrics. So it is very important that, and I think we go back to what is that perception of security, multi-factor authentication, having different ways of verifying it, and do it in a way that is not predictable. So it's not always, I don't know, your phone and your face, but sometimes it's going to ask for the password. Sometimes it's going to ask for different ways of verifying, really to deter those fraudsters to getting into the account.
That was really insightful, Anna. Thanks so much.
Of course. Thanks to you.
Thank you, Anna. Great to have you on the show. But before you leave us, I've just got a very quick question for you. Yes. Now, fintechs, I would say, are naturally quite security conscious anyway. So do you think fintechs are ahead of the curve when it comes to security IDs compared to other industries?
I think they have, since the inception of fintech, they have really learned how to embrace different types of technology a lot faster than others. So I think definitely they are always one step ahead. The risk appetite is a lot higher, but at the same time, they test a lot this technology that is being implemented, especially because they partner with different type of companies that are experts on this side. So, for example, usually they're not going to develop the biometric let's say, part that they introduce, but they're going to partner with companies that have really high standards in order really to ensure low friction, but really high level of security.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anna, from ID Now UK. Now, stay with us. We've still got some great content coming up to share with you just after this short break. Don't go away.
BizDigital is simply providing better digital access to our specialist insurance expertise. My name is James Wright. I'm Head of Technology for BizDigital. We've got 5 key objectives, and these are doing the basics really, really well, meeting our brokers where they want to be met, easy access to our specialists, using data to really drive our business, and continually striving for better. By ensuring our products and services are really going to be relevant and efficient in a more digital future. And to do that, we're really focused on developing our internal talent to have the right skills to change and optimize what we do, but leveraging their subject matter expertise in building that digital future. Our approach in working with our partners is that we like to have shared goals. We like to ensure that our cultures are quite closely aligned and ensuring that we've got shared ways of working. So when we come to delivering our business outcomes, that's as efficient as it can be. So next for us is establishing our business, our credibility, by delivering on our business plan for this year and to ensure that we continue to serve our clients this year and beyond.
Customers and employees are producing millions of signals critical to your business. How they feel, what they like, why this product and not that, where they're spending money, what could be better, or what would make them happier, spend more, and be more loyal. These signals are flooding into your organization in live time. Medallia captures all these signals and makes sense of them, so you can understand every experience along every journey. Our artificial intelligence analyzes all these signals to detect patterns, identify risk, and predict behavior. So you can fix problems before they happen and double down on opportunities to make experiences extraordinary. Because with Medallia, customers build the best products, employees build the best companies, and together, we build the best brands.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I don't know if you could hear some strange clapping and finger clicks that were going on in the background there. I think that might have been Kieran while he was watching the videos playing. I definitely heard something. Anyway, welcome back. Still to come, we have the results of our LinkedIn poll, and we've got some more information on the FinTech Live event that I mentioned earlier. But first, we're going to take a look at the March issues of FinTech magazine and sister title InsurTech. First off, we're going to look at FinTech, and I think we've got the front cover we can look at here. And we carried a great feature that you wrote, Joe, regarding women and health management.
That's right.
Wealth management. Sorry.
Yeah, wealth management. Yeah. Well, wealth and health are inextricably linked, so that's an easy one to make.
Yep.
So, as it was International Women's Day this week, I couldn't not talk about our cover feature. And I interviewed, among others, Vrinda Gupta, who is the CEO and co-founder of Sequin. And she and her team have created a debit card that builds credit scores for women. Now, Vrinda has a really interesting story because through her background as a first-generation immigrant to the US, she already had a unique perspective on what affects women financially. And she spent several years at Visa working in credit, and this led her to researching women's credit ratings and why their borrowing power is, in general, so much lower than men's. Now, interestingly, the event that resulted in her launching Sequin was that she was actually turned down for a credit card that she and her team created. And that became her motivation for addressing the issue of women and low credit. So it's a really inspiring story of someone who's working hard to address a problem which, let's face it, affects 50% of the world's population. So definitely have a read of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the FinTech magazine is fresh out. About a week or so, actually, it's been out now. But yeah, packed full of amazing features. And one profile that we did that caught my eye was for Sunrise Bank, the pioneering community bank that partners with fintechs to serve the underbanked to build a better digital future. We spoke to their chief revenue officer, Brian Toft, based out in Minnesota, and we heard a great case study on how they partnered with Mobility Capital Finance, or MoCaFi, or MoCaFi, and did some fantastic work together. So let's have a quick look at the video.
Sunrise is really looking to scale its mission of improving financial wellness by partnering with fintechs. My name is Brian Toft, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Sunrise Banks.
My name is Wole Koksum. I am the founder and CEO of Mobility Capital Finance, which we affectionately call MoCaFi.
Sunrise Banks is on a mission to be the most innovative bank empowering financial wellness, and we do that in two main ways. One is through our core community bank, and the other way is through our fintech partnerships.
So our company is really focused on first getting people banked. We live in a society where some communities are 50 to 55% are unbanked or underbanked.
Our core message is, how do we help serve those unbanked and underbanked individuals in the most innovative, cost-effective, and risk-mitigated way?
Our partners are Sunrise Bank. As a fintech, it's critical to have someone thinking about the legal, the compliance, the product strategy, profitability.
We have a wide variety of partners like MoCaFi that are doing such good things in the community.
We feel that the future is quite exciting and bright. We're working with our existing customers and constantly improving our product base while we think about innovating with new products.
We continue to automate everywhere we can, digitize everything we can. And finally, we're looking to grow our existing fintech relationships and take on new ones. So we are out in the marketplace trying to figure out what's the best fit for Sunrise and for those fintechs.
Okay, and like I say, that's just one of the many fantastic features and profiles that we've got in FinTech Magazine this month. Now, just to address, actually, we have had a few comments that I can see here from a couple of our users who said they've experienced some problems with maybe buffering of the show. So really apologise for that. Not sure what's happening there. It seems fine from our end, and we've had other viewers who say that it seems to be fine for them. So I can only apologize, but I can say that if you are having problems watching this live, you will be able to view it later on demand. So it will be posted to our social channels. So if you are having any problems now, just tune in another time and watch the show again. So moving on though, Joe, let's have a quick look at InsurTech as well. And you've picked out, well, one story, I think, from that. But let's have a look at the front cover as well, because it's another great cover this month.
Yeah, that's a great cover, isn't it? Really kind of dynamic. I like that one a lot. But the story I want to focus on, I think, is an interview with Chris Moore, who is head of iBot. Really, we had a very interesting discussion about the sharing economy. So iBot is an insurtech that's supporting new ventures in the sharing economy. And Chris Moore's background is really interesting because he was part of the team that created the insurance solution for Airbnb. Now, prior to his team's work, there were no insurance offerings available for people who wanted to share their properties on a short-term basis. So that really kind of held back the industry. And their product has basically enabled customers to rent out their properties with peace of mind because it will be covered should anything unfortunate occur. And who knows whether Airbnb would have been as big as it was without that insurance security safety net. So I just think that the sharing economy is such an interesting subject in general, and it was great to speak to someone who has such impressive insights into a space that is really watchable and that is growing all the time.
Absolutely. And as you said, anyone wanting to read that feature, they can go to our websites, And you can find all the content for FinTech and InsurTech magazine and watch all the video content too. Now let's move on and we'll take a look at the results of that poll that we mentioned earlier, Jo. I've seen the results. Why don't you share those with us?
That's right. Well, we had 24% of our audience voted that malware was going to be the biggest threat to fintech. 37% said phishing would be the problem, and 39% said that ransomware would be the biggest problem. So that's quite. It's an interesting result, but it's not unexpected. I did kind of think that that's the way it would go.
Yeah, I must admit it's pretty much there as well. I thought phishing might have been slightly higher. I mean, it was close. Obviously, phishing 37%, ransomware 39%. I think that Eve, our marketing guru, has also said that we're going to keep the poll open for another couple of days. Actually, I know we had about 250 votes already, so thank you very much for that. But if you do have something to say about that, or if you want to post a comment about that result, or maybe even try and affect the final result, go and have a vote and have your say as well. Now, we have very important dates for your diary as FinTech Live returns as a hybrid event in London, and that's taking place the 9th and 10th of November 2022. Did you join us in 2021? If not, here's a taste of what you missed. Good morning and welcome to the FinTech and InsurTech live show.
Buy more stocks, pushes the price up. You sell more stocks of the same kind, pushes the price down.
We saw 5 years of growth in digital payments here in the UK.
Eventually the market does work things out if there's a reason to, right? And there was a collective need to have a standard in those industries.
It's phenomenal. You guys have a great vibe in the area.
I love the hybrid events. I think to be here in person is an absolute privilege.
It's great to get into a room with people because you get an energy.
There you go. We'll be having much more on that as we get closer to the show. I've got invaders coming into the studio. Get back, get back. With regular updates in the magazine and, of course, on our websites. Also coming up this month to coincide with Women's History Month and International Women's Day, which we had earlier this week, as Jo mentioned earlier. We're also publishing our top 100 women in fintech list, which should be with you in about a week or so, I think. So keep an eye out for that. We've still been debating and discussing who's going to make the top 100 and, of course, the all-important #1 position. Okay, folks, that's all we've got time for this episode. We hope you enjoyed the show and make sure you tune in again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for interacting with us and watching live and for taking part in the poll. And remember, as I said, this show is available to watch on demand. So please do share it with colleagues and anyone interested in fintech and InsurTech. A special thank you to our special guest, Anna, to Joanna for being brilliant once again, and to Kieran and the rest of the video production team and Eve in marketing. This wouldn't happen without everybody's team effort. This has been a BizClik Media Group production, and we'll see you next time. See you, everyone.